Good afternoon. It is 5 p.m. Tuesday, December 9th, special city council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the press and public were duly notified of the meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. Nicole, you want to do roll call?
Absolutely. Councilmember Carroll?
Here.
Councilmember Myers?
Here.
Councilmember Pierce?
Here.
Councilmember Bogosian?
Here.
Councilmember Ward?
Here.
Councilmember Hahn?
Here.
Councilmember Streetman?
Here.
Councilmember Anderson?
Here.
Mayor Pounds?
Here.
You have a quorum?
Thank you. First item is special presentations. Chris Farr is with us. I know we had the presentation earlier, but didn't have the package. We've had that for a couple of weeks. So, Chris, I don't know if you want to just not go over what's on there or just open it up for questions. How do you want to do it?
Yeah, sure. So, Chris Kerr, Bear CPA. Previously, we had presented.
Chris, you pull the mic up to your. I guess it may not.
Is that better?
From that streaming.
Okay.
Thank you.
So previously, we had presented draft financial statements to City Council. The financials have been provided to you all, I believe, and if you need bound copies, they are available. Today, we're going to be going over the issued final financial statements. In their form, they have not changed at all, other than they are dated and on our letterhead. I did want to reiterate that we had strong organization and communication with Deborah and her team, and Douglas as well. So thank you for that. As far as the audit results, I just want to kind of go high level. You know, when we're looking at it from an auditor's perspective, we want to make sure that there's really no audit adjustments, no poor internal controls that could either result in poor financial information going out to the community, city council, or worst case scenario that fraud occurs and it's either found too late or not detected before it happens. The good news is we had no audit adjustments during the audit, no proposed adjustments. We also had what is called a single audit this year because there was federal funds that put those over the limit. So we were required to look at kind of the procedures around federal funds, and those are always the results of those procedures are always at the end of the audit. So if you look at the final page of the audit, you can see that. It's all good news. There's no findings or compliance issues noted, so that's definitely good to see. The one reason that we presented draft financial statements last time as well, there was a new standard, GASB Statement 101 on compensated absences. So the standards have changed basically to how we accrue for compensated absences. And what that means is previously basically vacation was in the financial statements, and what they wanted us to do was look at it differently. That resulted in us restating the prior year's financials to properly reflect that. That is not what we considered material, but Deborah and team and Douglas wanted to make that adjustment so that every year we're not proposing an adjustment. And so they basically said that they wanted that to go forward. That resulted in us accruing that additional amount. It was about $250,000 for this year. But I did want to open it up because I know that was kind of a new thing that was added. You will see in the financial statements that there's a restatement of prior period. That's what that's referring to. And then the other thing that Deborah did want me to bring up was the capital additions this past year. We had $4.4 million in governmental. If you were looking at the financial statements, that's on page 12. And then $881,000 of business type, that would be the marina. Those included stormwater and tidal drainage projects, the Waterway Boulevard, 38th and 41st Avenues, vehicle and equipment. There was a skid steer, mini excavator, playground equipment, the marina public dock construction and T-dock enhancements, land improvements, ADA beach access at 46th and 52nd, boardwalks, footbridges at 26th and 36th, enhanced emergency access to County Park, and those were the high level. Obviously, there's a bunch of nuanced additions as well, but those were the main ones. So overall, we had good internal controls. The financial statements that you see in front of you are the ones that we were provided as auditors. We just kind of did the procedure. On the flip side, if we had a poor performing institution, organization, we sometimes have a lot of adjustments to get to what you see in front of you. But like I said, there was nothing that was recommended or proposed this year. So I'll open up for any questions you have.
Questions? Good. Comments? Deborah, anything to add? Chris, thank you for you and your team, and we all descended on us for a number of weeks.
Yep.
So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much. Happy holidays. Next item is recognition of outgoing council members Jan Anderson and Blair Hahn. We've got a lovely parting gift for you. We've done this the last couple of times. It's the map of IOP on a wood carving with a pin of your abode. And on the back of it, it's to Jan Anderson, Blair Hahn. Thank you for your service to the Isle of Palms community. So thank you both for giving of your time, energy, effort, talents, and serving with us for the last 4 years. Thank you.
I like your flying up. Thank you.
A wayfinder home.
All right.
Jan?
I'd like to say a few words. I want to thank the Isle of Palms community for the privilege of serving on our city council for the last 4 years. When I look back at my accomplishments, I am most proud of the part in securing paramedics on the fire staff. Thank you, Chief, for that. From the first week, they have saved lives. I'm proud also to have supported the Waterway Boulevard Sidewalk and Drainage Project, which after 8 years, more than my term, is about to enter phase 2 construction, and all of the other island drainage projects that significantly improve our quality of life. When my tenure began, the biggest issue was the marina lease and restaurant. And now our marina tenant has fulfilled his promises and operates a successful franchise that favors our constituents, and the Islander 71 restaurant is a huge success. With Katie's vigilance, thank you, Katie, and my input, we are close to repaving the marina's shared parking lot and securing a pocket park down there for residents near our beautiful new community park. I think that'll be a new asset for our community. My one regret, though, is that I was unable to implement measures to relieve traffic congestion. But as I leave, we have found a solution that will alleviate significant delays for as many as 350 days of the year and enable a system to dynamically respond to gridlock conditions during the worst days of the summer. I leave this in the hands of council to implement. So, good luck, guys. I will miss interacting with all of you on a daily basis, especially our wonderful, dedicated, and very professional staff. Thank you. And I'm sure that our new council has our best interest at heart and will continue to ensure that our wonderful life in paradise is protected. Thank you all for your service. Oh, one more. Good luck with solving the beach erosion problem. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Jan. Amy, we still got issues. Can you put anything up on?
Yes, we can.
Next item is consideration of nominations for standing committees for 2026. You see on the screen, Administration, Bev Miller, Scott Pierce, Jimmy Ward. Public Safety, John Bogosian, Ashley Carroll, David Cohen. Public Services and Facilities, Katie Myers, Scott Pierce, and Rusty Streetman. I want to thank all the council members and our council member elects for conversations to get us to this point. Are there other, we're not voting tonight, but are there other nominations to be made for committee assignments? Next item is consideration of nominations for boards and commissions. This is from our administration committee. After interviews and resume reviews for, first is for the Planning Commission. They're recommending reappointing Ron Denton, Suzanne Nagelski, Jeffrey Rubin, and Rich Steiner, and appointing Bill Laughlin. For the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee, reappoint Barb Burglar, Chrissy Lorenz, Mike Boykin, and Margaret Miller. For Environmental Advisory Committee, reappoint Laura Levins and Todd Murphy. Appoint Britton Foy and Susan Smith. and appoint Charlotte Webster for the student position. For the Beach Preservation Committee, our first inaugural committee of that is appointing Dan Slotchever, Wendy Pastorick, Alice Bova, Dieter Osterman, and John Schilling. Are there other nominations? And John, do you have anything you wanted to add on, since this is coming from your committee?
No. It's good.
Next item is consideration of nominations for city judges, city attorney, and city prosecutor. First, Michael Maloney for city judge, Christopher Skipper for associate judge, Mac McQuillan of Hainsworth, Sinclair, and Boyd for city attorney, and Culver Kidd for city prosecutor. Next item is consideration of appointments from council. First is CARTA Board of Directors, Jimmy Ward, Charleston Visitors Bureau, Rusty Streetman, Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester Council of Governments, Bev Miller, Environmental Advisory Committee Liaison, Katie Myers, and Beach Preservation Committee Liaison, David Cohen. Are there other nominations for appointments?
Yes, I'd like to nominate John Bogosian for the Charleston Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. Next item 11 is consideration of proposal from Thomas and Hutton to provide bidding and construction administration services for Phase 2 of Waterloo Boulevard legislative project for $75,000. If you recall in this, we recently received all of our permits to let construction bids go on Phase 2. This has always been in the budget. We're just approving their oversight and bidding process for us. If there's a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Douglas, anything you want to add to that?
No, just that this is in addition to a follow-up phase from phase 1. This is that part of work that we have a kind of critical deadline that we're working towards with the FEMA grant. We are still working under the assumption that we're not going to be successful in getting that grant extension, but it has been reiterated to us from the construction community and our engineers that it will be very challenging to have $1 million of the work actually in place by February. So we're trying to get that done, but at the same time, we're also working with our federal lobbyists to try to get that extension granted from FEMA. We just are not hearing anything back through the state and or the FEMA offices on the extension. They're kind of indicating that the shutdown has them a little bit jumbled, and we're hopeful we're going to hear back affirmatively that we've been granted the extension, but we just haven't heard that word yet. So we're working fast and furious to get this underway and work in the ground to be sure we can take advantage of that grant.
What's the requirements? Is it to spend all of the money, the $1 million or whatever the grant amount is, or if you spend half of it, you get that amount granted?
I think that we would be reimbursed all that we can get in place by the deadline of the grant.
And what is your estimate of what we can get done by that period?
That our engineers are telling us that, and they're looking at it every way of, can we get all of the materials ordered and just have them in place? But they're saying it will be hard to spend $1 million by February, given the way that the project's set up. And
But do they have an estimate how much it can realistically spend by?
I have not heard that. They've just told me it will be tough to spend the full $1 million.
So do we have the contractor under contract for those?
No, it's out to bid now. We just got the permits. I think either this week or may have been last week. So it's out for bidding now. The bidding deadline is December 31st to align with your first meeting in January. Usually that's a ceremonial meeting, but there will be a piece of business on there to authorize a contract for this work.
Remember, what's the February date? The exact date?
February 1st.
First. We'd have to spend the money by February 1st.
Correct. So, I think the meeting is on the 6th. We could potentially sign a contract on the 7th. There's time in there, obviously, to order materials. I think even if we were to front load all of the materials, I don't know that it's $1 million. So I would hope that we would have affirmative good news on the extension. But if we don't, we're going to do our absolute best to get $1 million spent by February 1st. But it will be a challenge.
And Douglas, we've engaged our federal lobbyist in Mesa's office trying to get this pushed.
That's correct. Yeah, the governor's office, Mesa's office have all offered to help with getting the extension. I mean, it should not be an overwhelming task to grant the extension. Just has not happened for whatever reason.
And just this 75,000 was already in the original budget.
Yeah, it was in their original proposal. If you recall, we were not sure that we would get through phase 1. That also had this kind of time constraint of being done in conjunction with the golf course. So council didn't authorize this part of the Thomas and Hutton work, but it's always been in their plan for work that they would need to be done.
And Douglas, to your point, this is specific for construction bidding and construction oversight.
That's correct.
So one more question.
Yeah.
Where will the $1 million come from if we're not getting it from the feds? Is it going to have to come out of the fund balances?
Yeah, we have. So we've been talking internally about options for that. There is. We have basically a drainage savings account that is held with Charleston County as part of the city's NPDES fund. The balance of that account is about $1.8 million at this point. That would certainly be money that would be available. We also have, and not to get too far afield, but we also have in this year's budget work on Palm at between 38th and 41st that we are hearing is not going to be practical to get completed in the off season. So we were faced with the choice of either that going into the busy season or delaying that until the fall. So that is money that is in our budget. There's also, I think it's about $2.2 million that was dedicated to that project in the prior state budget. So we are going to reach out to the state budget office about potentially, because we're going to have the issue of not only the million, but we do think that the contract for this project is going to be beyond what we budgeted for the project. So we think we're going to be over budget even without the FEMA grant issue. So we do need to identify
Over the
additional.
$6 million that we had in there?
No, we budgeted $2 million in this year's
I mean,
budget.
the whole project was like $6 million.
That's correct.
So this is going to take it above the $6 million.
No, we budgeted $2 million to be done this year. We think it's going to be in the magnitude of $4.5 million total spent this year if we're able to do this next section of work. So total this year will be $4.5 million. We only budgeted $4 million. $1 million of that comes back, but we still have this. We still are going to be over budget about $1.5 million.
Could have asked you to bring this summary update to the next meeting so
Yep.
that when we look at approving the, this contract, I just remember all the phases was a total of almost $6 million. Maybe you're looking at the chunks at 4.5 for the fiscal
That's
year,
correct.
but what I think we need to see is now what is the current view of the entire project, given that we either have the $1 million or we don't. We're either over on this next phase or not. What's the new outlook?
Yeah.
Because it's going to hit our 27 fiscal budget. And then where the money's presumably going to come from, because if it's coming from somewhere else to cover the $1 million, that means something else isn't potentially getting done.
And we're working on that to be able to report it, knowing that or expecting that the bids are going to be way above what we currently have allocated for. Yeah, we're expecting this phase of work to be about $3 million, which would bring
Versus 2, sorry.
well.
2.8.
Yes.
It was budgeted at 2.8 for phase 2.
phase 2 is budgeted at 2.8, but we only have 2 in this year's budget. So I'm talking about the current year's budget. Has budgeted 2 million. We think it's going to be a total of 4.5 million. And I'm sorry, I keep saying total for this current budget year. So we will have phase
We haven't
3.
laid out.
Yeah,
maybe
so
one
we're going to
page.
get all of this
Yeah.
laid out for you when we have the bids back for this coming up phase.
We'll have real bids, hopefully first meeting in January. So we've got a motion and a second for this particular Thomas and Hutton bid. Is all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next item is consideration of responses to RFQ 2025-02 to provide beach management alternatives analysis services. Douglas, you want to
Yeah.
set the stage and we'll do the
Yeah.
motion.
So this is an RFQ that council decided to put out, and this is requesting qualifications to analyze alternatives that would basically make the beach more durable. So we've had a number of ideas come out, presented to council. These would be things like groins, breakwaters. We've had the idea of a sand trap. All of these ideas to date have been kind of back of a napkin concepts. This would be an effort to get a deeper study on each of those, identify the pros and cons, cost estimates, and hopefully give council the tools you all need to make some choices about if and how you would like to create a more durable beach going forward. We issued that request, and we received responses from 4 firms. All 4 we have some familiarity with. One is CSE, Stephen Trainham's operation that's been working with the city for a long time. The next one is Foth Olson. That is Chris Creed, who the city engaged to provide a second opinion, which he did for us several months ago. The next one is a firm that was hired by some residents on the southern end of the island, CP&E. They have offered a proposal, and the last one is ATM, who we have used pretty much exclusively on the backside of the island. So they have dealt with the docks that we've permitted, our current dredging operation, which is under design and permit review. So we have varying degrees of experience with each of them, and they've submitted their background, their firm's background, and offered those to you all. Next steps in that process would be for you all to advise us which you would like to receive proposals from. Staff would then go back and say and identify. We're supposed to identify the top respondents. We would then go back, get proposals, and there would be a second. They would come back to you with their actual costs and proposals. That's the point at which you would be hiring a firm. So at this point, it's solely to select the firm or firms that you would like to get proposals from.
Douglas, is that something that we would be expecting to do at our next month at our first
Yes. Yeah, I think.
workshop council meeting to have that discussion?
Yep. It would be.
I mean, I read through all of the RFQs, and I mean, they all seem to have some really good qualifications there. There's no doubt about that. And I've looked at the evaluation process and criteria, and it looks like it comes down to us as a council making a decision whether we make those approvals or recommendations or turn it over to the Beach Preservation Committee to recommend to us.
Yeah, that would be a path. If you chose, I guess the downside of waiting would be it would delay the ultimate output of the chosen firm. But that could, if council was of a mind to not proceed with getting proposals back or considering proposals, that could be an option. It would just add some time to the process.
I'd just like to say one thing, and that is, in the process with this, we've gotten qualifications from 4 very well qualified firms. The next step is a proposal which is not a fee proposal. It was just a proposal of what the work would be that they proposed to do.
No, we think it would include a fee as well.
Generally, with consultants, when you're hiring expertise, you get qualifications, then you have a proposal of work, and then you select a firm and negotiate the fee based on that, because you're hiring the firm on their qualifications, not on how much it's going to cost. Now, if that firm that you select, you can't come to an agreement on a fee, then you can go to another, one of your alternate people. But you need to make sure that you hire on the work that that they're proposing to do, not on cost. It's different from buying a truck or something like that.
Yeah.
Just throw out an idea here, and maybe we do continue it at the workshop, but in order to perhaps not lose a month or so, I think there are a couple of firms in here that we're quite familiar with and have become familiar with, being CSE and Foth Olson. I think they've shared their information. They've both got kind of a level playing field as far as knowing the beach from where we stand right now, some of the issues we're dealing with. I'd be open to maybe we kick off at least two of those and get them going on it, and then if we want to reevaluate that at the workshop, see what the output is, and include others, or have a change of heart on that, maybe we could go from there. But I'd rather not lose a month of opportunity here, and I think these two firms they have a wide perspective of views, different opinions, and I think they can work together as well. So I think that might, I propose that maybe what we do is we pick those two off. I've gone through their qualifications and all, and I think that Trainham's team has familiarity here, and I think Foth Olson have demonstrated quite a aptitude for alternatives that we've not considered before. So
Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Other questions?
I'd just like to comment. I agree with Scott on that. I think instead of pulling a singular preference and say, okay, this is the criteria, this is what you want to come back to us on, and then if we're not happy with it, then we'll go back to the drawing board and start over. If we pick a couple of firms, as Scott suggested, CSE, Foth Olson, and go with those so they're both preparing that information, that should save us some time ultimately.
We get a couple different views too.
Right. I'm all for that.
Jim?
But you're just shutting out the other two from the process?
Not necessarily.
Yes, no, we could revisit that at the workshop as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, see if there's other alternatives. But these are two knowns. Anyway.
And I guess I would say the process is to try to get it to your chosen firm. So I think this would be the first. So I guess I would answer the question as you are starting to eliminate firms, which is the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, the way the process is set up now in the final paragraph there is that if we're not happy with the work that they come back, then you go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, you would want
With
to
another.
pick your top
Yeah.
firm
Yeah.
or firms based on their qualifications.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Douglas, you good?
Yep.
With that? Last item is second reading, ordinance 2025-12 to update the class schedule for business licenses as required by Act 176 of 2020. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve
Second,
without reading.
Douglas, anything to add? I know this is
No, this is a bit of a housekeeping. We're required to do this to keep track with the business license classes and their associated NICIS codes. So periodic update we have to do.
motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our next meeting will be swearing in on January 6th at 5 p.m. More information will be coming on that. There'll be no further business.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Off record at 5:31. Thank you.
God, that was Blair.
I gave that to Blair and to Jane.
Yes.
That's the last official act.
Thank you. You said that was some big.
Yeah.
Blair,
Next time y'all see me, I'll be
take your
behind.
little fancy thing.
I got my
What's your
time.
nameplate?
Oh, I get that too. Blair,
Oh, I don't want it.
constant steak night. Steak night. A Gallup and steak.